Hello, in this presentation, I will be giving details about my internship experience at TMZ Plants and Trees. Presentation is by me, Chantel Fortune. Week 1 started off at the annual landscape convention in Orlando, Florida. Basically a convention where nurseries and farming services gather to show their products and services. So the company I worked for, TMZ, had a booth set up as shown here, and the goal of the convention was to sell their trees and also gain new clientele. So this video is us setting up and loading. As you can tell, those trees are big, so definitely needed some machinery to set up the booths. And then this is me and the outside operations manager after we're done setting up. This was such a good opportunity for me as I got to learn about new species and network with other agricultural services and companies in the Florida area. As you can see, there are other booths and their products. So besides the landscape convention, majority of my time during the internship was spent outside doing daily maintenance and plant care activities. In this picture, this is the poster that shows what you see when you enter TMZ. An example of what I would do on a daily basis, we would cut the bottom leaves in order to prevent overgrowth and decaying. We would also cut the bark of the potted plants. This would also prevent overgrowth. Also, a lot of the clientele like a more smooth looking bark. So we would go ahead and just do this on a daily basis in order to maintain client requests and mostly the health of the plants and trees. When the trees are potted, they need much more maintenance than they do when they're on the ground. Also, the nursery, we experienced consequences from the hurricane, and so every time we spent a week just dedicating to plant care, picking up trees, watering them. This is a good video showing the lines of the hardwood trees. So during my internship, I suggested that the company make a concise profile of what they have and then send it out to clients on a weekly basis. So I went ahead and took pictures of each species. As you can see, that's a bottomwood. And I would label the name along with pictures of some of our best products. And I separated the hardwood trees and the palms in order to make the profile more organized. Right there is a foxtail tree, which is a high-selling tree. And then the European fan palm is one of the most expensive trees on the nursery. They take a long time to get to their size, about 30 years. So it's definitely special when you have a full-grown European. And here's an example of the line. You can see the drip irrigation that runs into the pots. That goes for all the hardwoods. And for the palm trees, they were located in a different section than the hardwood since they need similar conditions in regards to sun exposure and watering. As you can see, these palms are located under a mesh fence in order to stop some of the watering when it rains. There are also a lot of different species like spiders, which I learned are important pests. So besides being outside and performing plant care, I spent a lot of time in the office helping out with the business and doing certain sales tasks. In this video, you can see my office. There is the phone call where I take calls from clients, our sheet of availability. So if I forget pricing or availability, I can just go ahead and look at the sheet, and my messy notes of what clients want on the phone in case I need to communicate that with the sales manager or owner. And on these clipboards are invoices for the delivery driver. It will tell him when and where he needs to pick up product. And then the board just tells us what is going on a daily basis. This picture is an example of what we would send to clients. Say if they call in asking for a tree, we'll go out in the field and take the measuring pole and give them a picture for perspective. And if they like it, they'll write us back and we'll tag it for them, and they have 2 weeks to pick it up and pay for it. And when I mean by tagging, it's when we use a colored tape and we tie the tree so we know that that tree is no longer available for other customers. And so the company has a high integrity in regards to customer service. So say if we don't have the tree on the field, we'll go to another field. This is also called bidding, and look for their desired trees or trees in general that we think will be popular in the future, and we'll tag them at other sites. So this video is not at the TMZ nursery, but at a nursery nearby. While performing outside duties like cutting and trimming and watering and sales, I also balance a couple sustainability projects for TMZ. As I was outside, I noticed their drip irrigation. This video really shows the details of the process. So the water comes from that main line, and then it goes into each plant through a small pipe. This ensures that every single plant is getting watered properly and helps to eliminate runoff. As you can see, the B&B or the not potted palms also utilize drip irrigation in this picture. However, there is a large section, about 4,000 square feet, that doesn't get drip irrigation. So I also did some of my own research in regards to sustainable irrigation, and I came across a experiment done on a sawtooth oak, which was perfect because we also sell sawtooth oak, and it explains the benefits of salicylic irrigation. So basically, this process is when you water more frequently at shorter time cycles. So instead of watering twice a day for 20 minutes, you water 6 times a day for 5 to 6 minutes. And I highlighted the results from the research, and it explains how the quality improved. The plant was able to retain more water. And this process was also linked with including compost as a third of their soil mix. So I found this research to be interesting, and I shared it with the owner and outside operations and asked them if we could implement salicylic irrigation as well as include compost into their soil mix. They gave me the go-ahead. So I began with changing the water meter, which is quite simple. In regards to the square footage that still needed drip irrigation, I researched subsidy programs for farmers in Florida and came across a USDA program they had going on for water conservation. Basically, I just got in touch with them, and then we scheduled a tour where they saw and sketched what needed to be done in terms of drip irrigation, and we were later awarded with funding, which is a great opportunity for the company so they can practice conservation while also saving money. So with the drip irrigation, I also started a compost system so the nursery could add that mix into their soil. It will help with plant nutrition and water retention. So first I researched compost systems, and then I drafted a blueprint of what I was going to make. I tried to use materials that they already had at the nursery. So I found this bin and I simply just drilled some holes on the bottom for aeration. And then I started finding my material. So I needed green and browns, nitrogen and carbons. So I used fresh clippings for the nitrogen. This is just excess leaves falling from plants on site. And then for the browns, the carbon, I used the dead leaves. And I started to put and layer them into the bin. And it takes a long time, about 3 months, to see the results. I spent every day mixing the compost, letting air in through those aeration holes, and towards the end of my internship, I started to see the soil mixture become its desired state. Overall, I am very thankful for my internship opportunity at TMZ. I learned the ins and out of the plant industry and sales industry, and also many important lessons about plant and tree care and conservation. And I'm so thankful that the owners and the managers were willing to take me on and listen to my conservation projects and give me the freedom to grow and learn. For the USDA, I am thankful that we were able to get funding for water conservation. And even though my internship is over, I will still be in close contact with the company and USDA until they receive funding and install drip irrigation for the remainder of their nursery. Thank you for listening.